So hi there again everyone, this is again Alan and welcome back to my watercolor channel. Today in this video we are going to be focusing again on another Fuumuui product, and this time we have the mini walnut watercolor travel palette. I unboxed this palette together with the Fuumuui brushes, which I actually loved, by the way, last week. And if you have not seen the video yet, please do check it out. Fuumuui sent their products to me from Hong Kong, and if you're interested to their products, please visit the links at the description box. This particular palette that I have contains 15 grids or 15 mini pans, and it costs $20.73. And if you want a smaller one, they also have an 8 grid palette for $17.73. If you're interested to getting Fuumuui products, please don't forget to use my discount code, which is JAY or J. For that, you are gonna get 10% off. Please make sure to select well the number of grids or pans to make sure you get what you need. There's a drop-down button found before the Add to Cart button. Anyway, the dimensions of this palette when open is 16 centimeters by 8 centimeters, or roughly 6 by 3 inches, and the thickness is around 1 centimeter. Since this palette is made out of walnut wood, it smells so good, and the color is dark brown. Each mini pan, in my estimate, can accommodate 0.5 ml of paints when dried, so that's I think 4 times less as compared to a regular half pan. So I have one popped out already, so this is the size comparison. On this side we have a wide well for mixing your colors. We only have one here, so later we are gonna be testing it out and see how it works. And also they provided a clip here for you to be able to clip this palette on any surface, but of course it's more dedicated on your sketch pad. And on this side they have provided 2 pairs of magnets so that they can be attached easily, so like that they can stick together, but of course you need to support it with this clip like that. You can use it this way or the other way around. But if you are going to be painting on this side, I think it's better to put the mixing palette closer to your painting. While if you are painting on this side, of course, you need to turn it this way. Now, before we pour some paints on this palette, let's first compare it with the other palettes that I have. So I have here, first one, the biggest one that we can compare is the brass inja palette. That is the size difference. I also have here the Whiskey Painters palette that can fit 24 half pans. So there's the size difference. And I also have here the Schminka Whiskey Painters that has a water reservoir. So this can contain 12 pans. And I also have the retro edition, but that's the size difference. So here is a typical 12 half pan palette, and this is the Prima Tropicals. So that's the size difference. So this is the portable palette. And lastly, we have here the micro portable painter. So that's them being close together. So by size, I think the most comparable are these two, followed by these two. For the paints, I have chosen to use Shinhan PWC. I've selected 15 colors. Why Shinhan PWC? Well, these paints are great and I have not used them for quite a while now and I miss them. The 15 colors that I've selected are the following. So I have here lemon yellow, Indian yellow, vermilion, quinacridone red, purple gray, mineral violet, lavender, ultramarine light, marine blue, shadow green, olive green, raw sienna, brown, sepia, and indigo. As you can see, some of these colors are already in my go-to palette, but some of them are not usually in my color selection, but I want to have something different this time. I want to have some fun, particularly by choosing purple gray because I believe this is unique to the brand. Anyway, this is not about my color selection, it's about the functionality of this palette. So let's hand pour the paints. I'm gonna be filling them up to the brim, and when they dry it's gonna lose 30 to 40% of the volume and that's totally fine. So let's begin. And now after 2 days, our paints are partially dry and I think we're ready to paint. And for our sample painting, I think gonna be using the size 4 and size 8 of our Fuumuui Squirrel brushes. And for our pad, I'm gonna be using my old Pentalic watercolor pad. I used this in 2018 and I actually have forgotten about it. I've selected to paint only fruits in this particular sketch pad because back in 2018 I was still on practice mode on watercolor, and I've in fact only painted 1, 2, 3, 4, and now here I'm painting grapes for our sample painting. And let's start. And since the size of our pad is perfect for our palette size, we can just put it on this side. It's actually longer, a bit longer by an inch, and that's fine because we can clip it here like that, so it's now very stable. And since I'm only at the studio, I'm at home, I can just put it on top of my table. But if you're outdoors, you can also comfortably hold it with one hand and paint with your other hand, since it's very light because it's wood. So it looks like that from the back, and it's very stable. That's what I like about it, because the clip is big enough to support, you know, the stability of our palette in our paper. So now let's start painting. So now I think we're done. It's dry and I'm happy with my output. And by the way, let's see how easy it is to clean the mixing palette. And yeah, the colors are easily removed from the palette. Now it's free of stain, and I'm happy about this. I'm really happy about this because I hate, you know, when my mixing palette gets stains. But of course it's normal, but of course it's gonna be much preferred if it's free of stain, right? So yeah, this is impressive, especially considering the fact that I used some staining colors like the PV19 Quinaclone Red and the Indigo. And now for my final verdict of the Fuumuui Walnut Portable Palette. My final verdict is that I am very happy and satisfied using this portable palette. Let's first begin with my positive comments about this palette. Number one, I was able to comfortably use my Fuumuui size 4 and 8 brushes. I wasn't expecting I'd be happy to use the size 8, but I was able to use it. I think I can also use the size 12, yes, this big, because the point is really good. You know, I'm not used to using small palettes like this, but yeah, to my surprise, I was comfortable using it. I didn't encounter any difficulties getting my paints with these micro pans. Number two, it's very light, it's very comfortable, and I think this is gonna be very easy to use, easy to carry. If you are gonna be doing plein air paintings with this, you can easily hold this with one hand, especially if you're using a small pad like this. Number three advantage is that it's very stable thanks to the strong clip that they provided. It was able to hold the palette well in my sketch pad without any shakings. And finally, the biggest advantage that I have observed, well, for others this might not be a huge thing, but for me it is that the mixing palette did not get any stains at all. That is just so surprising, because I believe this is sort of a plastic, and usually plastic mixing palettes easily get stains, but this one did not get any. So they must have done or used something that's so good for the mixing palette. If I had to think of any cons about this palette, that is maybe the size, because it's limiting in a way, because you're limited to, you know, smaller paintings, smaller brushes. But that's the beauty of it at the same time, because this is a portable palette. Of course, it's gonna be very small, and you know, travel painting most of the time is meant for, you know, smaller setups, smaller pads, smaller brushes. So I think this is perfect for those who are traveling with limited space, limited weight allowance, and especially for those who want to paint in small pads like this. Another sort of a cons, I remember earlier, the paints were beading. They were forming beads, and that is not favorable in other palettes, but I think for this setup it's an advantage somehow, because the space is limited, so you don't actually want your paints to scatter or to flow. And as you've seen earlier, I was mixing 3 colors. Although it's weird, the beading has helped, you know, them from not contacting each other. So it's a good thing. And the beading anyway wasn't really so bad. So that's something you could note. And so if you have any comments or questions about this palette, or even about the Fuumuui brushes, you may comment it at the comment box, and I'm gonna be answering you as soon as I can. Or you may also direct your questions at the Fuumuui Instagram account. I'm gonna be pasting all the useful links at the description box. And if you're interested to getting your Fuumuui items, please don't forget to use my discount code, and that is JAYJ, to get 10% off. To Fuumuui, thank you so much for sending these beautiful items for me to try. I honestly really enjoyed using them. So I think that's all for today. This has been Alan, thanking you for watching this video. Please don't forget to like and share this video to show support to my channel. See you again on the next video. Bye-bye!